Hello, today I wanted to cover the Fun They Had chapter from the Beehive textbook of grade 9 CBSE. The Fun They Had is written by Isaac Asimov, born in 1920 and passed away in 1992. He was an American author and biochemist. He's a PhD in chemistry and also taught for some time at the Boston University in the United States. He's an extremely successful and prolific writer of science fiction. He extensively wrote about science fiction, and some of his most famous works are the Foundation and Robot series. The Fun They Had is a science fiction story set in the future. It was written in 1951 and set in 2157, which means about 206 years or more than 2 centuries in the future from when it was first written. From the year 2019, it is still 138 years in the future. Now, the story talks about the schools of the future, which will have virtual classrooms. Even today, we have virtual classrooms, and that learning will take place through computers, which also happens today. But you would have robotic teachers, and there would be moving e-text on the screens of the monitors. Agree that robotic teachers are not there currently, but of course, we are all familiar with e-books. To help with the chapter explanation, I will summarize each page of the chapter. Now on page 5 of the textbook, which is the first page of the chapter, we are introduced to the character of Margie, and she makes a diary entry which is dated the 17th of May 2157. Now Margie writes, "Today Tommy found a real book." Now a real book, which means a really old book according to Margie, which her grandfather's grandfather had told her about. Now these books are printed on paper like the books we have today, and the words on the page, the text does not move. Summary of page 6. Now printed books, that is books which are printed on paper and bound, have yellow and crinkly pages, which means pages that have lines on them and have folds and wrinkles. And the words on the page are standing still. That means the words do not move. And Tommy found this book in the attic. Now an attic can be a small storage space below the roof of a house. And Tommy thinks that the printed book is a complete waste because once you finish reading it, the book will have to be thrown. Now Tommy compares a printed book to a television screen, which he thinks is more valuable because the television screen can store millions of telebooks on it and wouldn't be thrown. Summary of page 6. Now the book which Tommy has found is about school. So it's written on the topic of school, and Margie is scornful. Means that she hates the idea and she thinks and feels a bit superior. Now she hates school and she thinks that there's nothing that somebody can write about school. So she says, what's there to write about school? Now what is happening is that the mechanical teacher or the robotic teacher that Margie had been giving her tests in geography, and Margie has been performing poorly. Now Margie's mother had sent for, that means she had called the county inspector, who was a round little man with a red face, and he has this box full of tools and dials and wires, and he came to Margie's house to repair her robotic teacher. Now the county inspector gave Margie an apple, and then he took the teacher apart. That means he opened up the mechanical teacher to repair it. Chapter summary of the end of page 6 and page 7. Now Margie was hoping that the county inspector would not know how to repair her mechanical teacher. She did not want her teacher to be repaired. But the mechanical teacher was repaired by the county inspector, and the teacher was big, black and ugly, and the lessons were shown on a big screen. Now in the mechanical robotic teacher, Margie hated the slot. Now a slot is a gap for putting inside homework and test papers, which Margie used to write in the punch code, which she had learned at 6 years old. And the marks used to be calculated instantaneously, which means immediately. Now Margie's poor performance in geography was not her fault because the geography sector was geared a little too quick. It was set at a very fast level and it was slowed down to an average 10-year-old level, which is an age-appropriate level for Margie. Summary of the remainder of page 7. Now the county inspector tells Margie's mother that her overall progress in academics is quite satisfactory. She's doing well in her studies. Margie is disappointed. She's not happy because she was hoping that her mechanical teacher would be taken away for repairs. Margie hated school and did not want to study for some time. Now, she remembers a time when Tommy's teacher had been taken away for a month because the history sector of the mechanical teacher had malfunctioned and blanked out completely. Now, Margie wonders and thinks, why would anybody write about school? Because school is not a good place to write about. It cannot be an interesting topic. Now, Tommy responds loftily, which is in a very superior way. He says, it's not our kind of school. It's a school of centuries ago. Summary of page 8. Now, Tommy says that the schools of the past did not have a regular teacher. They had a man. He contrasts a regular teacher with a human teacher. Now for Tommy and Margie, a regular teacher means a robotic mechanical teacher of the future. Now Margie asks, how can a man be a teacher? Because she does not believe that a human can be as smart and as intelligent as a mechanical teacher. However, Tommy is confident that his father knows as much as his teacher. Now Margie at the moment is not prepared to dispute or challenge that because she is not feeling confident enough that she can argue with Tommy about whether a mechanical teacher is superior or a human teacher. So she keeps quiet and leaves it at that. Now Margie does not want a strange man teaching her in her house. To this, Tommy responds that teachers did not live in the houses of the students they taught. There was a special building which was called a school, and all children attended that building, and in that building the teachers taught the students. Now the children of a similar age learned same things. This is the same as children of a similar age group are divided into grades or classes of today. Summary of the remainder of page 8. Now Margie says that Margie's mother says that teachers, mechanical teachers, need to be adjusted to each individual child because each child has to be taught differently. So Margie does not understand how children of the same age can learn the same things together. To this, Tommy suggests that Margie does not need to read the book if she does not like it. He gets irritated by Margie criticizing the book, so he says you don't need to read it if you don't want to. Now Margie is defensive because she wants to read about the funny schools. And both children, Margie and Tommy, try and read the book together, and they have not even finished half of the book when Margie's mother calls her to attend school. Now Margie wants to read the book with Tommy after school. So Tommy nonchalantly means carelessly, walks off saying, maybe. That means he may let her read the book later. Summary of the remainder of page 8 and page 9. Now Margie goes to the schoolroom after her mother tells her to go and study, and the schoolroom is next to or adjacent to her bedroom, and the mechanical teacher is on and waiting for Margie at the same time every day except on Saturday and Sunday. So Margie has the weekends free. Now Margie's mother believed that little girls will learn better if they learned at regular hours. So she believes in studying according to a proper regular routine. Now the mechanical teacher's screen is lit and the arithmetic or math lesson on the addition of proper fractions is flashing on the screen, and Margie is told to insert her homework from the day before in the slot, which Margie does so. Now all of this is very boring for Margie because she has no friends, there are no other classmates, and there is no human interaction. Margie is only interacting with a machine. Summary of the remainder of page 9. Now Margie sighs, that is, she takes a deep breath and inserts her homework in the slot, and she starts thinking about the old school when her grandfather's grandfather was a little boy. All children went to school. They used to laugh and shout together. They used to play together. They sat together and went home together at the end of school. And all of the children would learn the same things. That means they could help each other and they could talk to each other about homework. And all the teachers were people. So while Margie is inserting her homework, she starts thinking about the schools of the past. Summary of the remainder of page 9. Now when Margie is thinking about the schools of the past, the mechanical teacher is flashing on the screen the content for the lesson, addition of fractions. Now Margie is still thinking about the schools of 2 centuries ago, about how the children must have loved it in the old days, and she began to think about the fun they had. which means she starts thinking about that the schools of the past may not necessarily be that bad the way she was thinking. She hates school and she does not like it because her school is much different to what schools were of 2 centuries ago. Now some chapter notes to help you better understand the chapter. Now the futuristic science fiction story is set over 2 centuries in the future from the time it was written. The schools of the future are a dull room in the house of the child. The schoolroom houses mechanical teachers and related electronic equipment for teaching and learning. Without human interaction, teaching has become mechanized, sterile, dull, and boring. We can feel Margie's acute loneliness and boredom as she learns all by herself in the schoolroom of the future. Teaching is not interesting and there is low intellectual stimulation. Margie misses the company of children in her schoolroom. First, she thought that schools were boring and nothing good could be written about schools. After reading the book, she realized that children of the past must have had a lot of fun in school. It is noteworthy that the last line of the story gives us its title. That means the very last line of the chapter, the fun they had, is the title of the chapter itself. It gives us a hint about all the fun the children of 2 centuries ago would have had in school. Thank you so much for watching. That brings us to the end of the chapter, The Fun They Had by Isaac Asimov. Now your questions, suggestions and recommendations are always welcome in the comments below. Now let me know if there's any particular content you want me to cover with respect to CBSE English, and hope this video tutorial helped you in understanding the chapter. And you can watch the next video for the solutions to the chapter, and subscribe to the channel for new content. And thank you so much and all the very best for your study.